What's up, YouTube? Mr. Lamacy here, and today we find out Diablo 2 is broken. That's right, our boy PavKeyD has discovered that you can manipulate drops and change player count after monsters spawn, which is absolutely insane and absolutely wild, and something that I actually thought was a possibility. But I didn't have the testing. I was like, I feel like something's happening, but I didn't have the testing for it. He went and did it and figured it out for us. So shout out to him. Let's take a look at how much test. Oh man, there's so much stuff. All right, so we can take a look. You can spawn monsters on players 1 and have them drop players 7 loot. And in this post, I will show you how. The answer before this was always no. But now you can do it. Not just in Travical, but anywhere you wish. To showcase this, I did 10,000 Travical runs because those few additional steps only take a couple extra seconds to add to the run. It's pretty funny that he did 10,000 Travical runs to prove it, which is a lot. It's not like he was like, I did 100. There you go. He's like, I'm just going to do 10,000. Boy loves his Diablo 2. You don't need any external tools or modification of game files for this to work. This also existed in LOD. This is not unique to D2R. Dare I say this will change how single-player games are played and will shift the meta around. I mean, it definitely could. That is quite wild. In case of Travical farming, this manipulation can bring any class on par with Trav Horkbarb in terms of high room efficiency farming. You no longer need to focus on survivability since council members spawn on player 1, but you can murder them on players 7. Let's start at the beginning. Player settings. Basics. For a good start point, let's check the information. Player settings impact a monster's total life, damage, attack rating, experience gained from monster kills, and chance to drop items. Monster life, they get 50% additional life for each additional player. Damage and attack rating is 6.25%, experience is 50% additional, and no drop is a percent chance for a monster to not drop an item from the loot table. So basically the way no drop works is right there. When you increase the player count, or just, there's more players with you, whatever it is, the number, and when you increase the player count on odds, I should say, which is why we always say go players 1 through 5, 7 when you're changing. Unless you want like P8 just for difficulty and more experience. But if you want more item drops, 1 through 5, 7, and it's because every 2 additional players, it will adjust the no drop and lower it. So the chance that a monster doesn't drop an item will go down. No drop does not affect the following monster types: champions, uniques, and super uniques. This is, champions always are 2 potions in 1 item, or large sum of gold. Uniques are always 4 potions in an item, and super uniques are always 4 potions in 2 items. The example of this would be Thresh Socket, or Eldritch, or Pindle, right? Any of that are your like super uniques. Bosses do have that no drop though, right? And it seems like council members also have this issue. Good. We all know that monsters are tougher and stronger and drop more loot with higher player count. But this is an interesting, there's a bit of interesting information. Monster no drop chance is calculated when the monster dies. This means that spawning a monster at player 7 and then reducing the player settings to players 1 would increase their no drop chance. So you can spawn monsters at P7, change to players 1, and have the reduced drop chance. This is something that we can do with the Countess, right? If I'm not mistaken, this would then be why we can go in, spawn the Countess at the higher player count, but before killing her, change to players 1, and then we can get the more Countess runes to drop for us, right? Because she drops the most runes on players 1, because she has a higher no drop chance for the other items, it leaves space for runes and all of that. So you can spawn monsters at P7, change to players 1, and have the reduced drop chance, but what happens the other way around if you go from P1 to P7? Why is there no mention of that? Interesting. So I checked and searched on many sources, and I couldn't find anything useful that happens when you do it. The usual answer is always no, it can't be done. However, a couple of months ago, Mysterio7885 and Cabrixis, sounds like a nerd, were discussing item drop mechanics. When exactly is the new Terror Zone treasure? Yeah. When exactly is the new Terror Zone treasure class selected? We continued the discussion on players 1 versus player 7, no drop chance selection, and thanks to Cabrix's testing, it's Warren, and Mysterio code reversal, we came to a conclusion. You can only change no drop change downwards. What does this mean? Well, if the monster is spawned on players 1, it can only have P1 drops. If it's spawned on P7, it can have P7, P5, P3, or P1 drops depending on your choosing. So this was how we were understanding it and why we could do the Countess at a high level or a high player count, but then change it before we killed her and we'd still get more runes because it would always take the lowest player X essentially count for that. This was the understanding. No drop chance is calculated at the moment of kill. If the monster spawned on P1, right, we did that. So this doesn't change anything for us because, cool, we can do these pieces, but nothing is adjusted. However, Mysterio took a look at the game source code and found the exact part of the code that handles player count and item drops. Player count equals min of player count, max get unit stat, monster unit, stat monster, player count, 1. Basically, treasure class and player count are picked at the moment a monster dies, but the player count is adjusted to be the minimum value between the current game player count and the monster spawned player count. Looks like there isn't anything we can do to manipulate it to our advantage. But somehow this was still bugging me. Yeah, all of this is exactly how I knew it to be. So let's read the revelation, because this is where it supposedly gets good. About a month ago, the same discussion popped up on Frozen Keep. Knowledgeable modder by the name of Swine Flu added some interesting bits of information. Player count stat is not saved when a monster unit is getting deactivated. After reactivation, it gets the current player count assigned to it. What? There's no way. Maximum hit points, current hit points, and experiences are saved. Okay, so that's still saved. You have to leave the area to trigger room deactivation. Can't use TP though. There's a few more rules, but leaving the area, preferably by not using TP for a short amount of time, should do it. Because I was going to say, I've definitely left the area and come back and they were still really hard to kill. This got my gears turning. I can see it being useful for some mods. It's borderline useless for vanilla. Too much setup, especially if you want to get maximum benefit for the player count. And even though he knew about this deactivation mechanic, he didn't believe it was useful for general play. But my mind was already set up on one thing, Travancore. It's difficult to set up in most scenarios, but how about I test it out and it works wonderful in the Travancore. You can see from the message above, I already tried running Travancore once or twice, and it worked. But was it a fluke? Well, if I just got lucky in those 2 test runs and got out of the ordinary number of item drops. So I started testing and testing and testing more. I ran all 5 tests I could think of for several hours. I changed the Council's treasure class so I would, without a doubt, know if I'm getting P1 or P7 drops. And it works. It actually works. Activating monsters, which means like spawning them, leaving the area, changing the player count to P7, and reactivating the monster affects their drops. The steps were teleport from the waypoint to the Council to activate them. Turn around and go to the current causeway. While in there, change to player 7. Go back and fight the council. Man, I just cannot read it all. And I was consistently getting player 7 drops. Wow. I was speechless. I needed to tell the community, but I felt I needed to do something special to celebrate this. So let's do 10,000 Travancore runs the new way. But the story doesn't end here. It gets better. The actual revelation only happened a few days ago. I was nearing the end of my 10,000 runs, and I decided to tell Cabrixis about my findings. He helped me with one other thing, so I wanted to give him some sneak peek. We started talking, discussing, started testing it. Turns out, you don't even need to exit the area. You only need to be 1 screen away from the monster for 5 seconds. This was what I was actually going to assume. I was like, I doubt leaving the area is a requirement. You probably just need to be slightly away from it. Once you deactivate the monsters and apply a new player count setting, teleport away 5 seconds, change the player count, and go back in. It was this simple the entire time, and I was playing it wrong. Here are the tests to showcase, and big shout out to Warren for his help with the testing. Warren, You were supposed to be working on Llama RPG. What? What's all of this? Oh my god. Charter class of council has been changed and nothing else. The setup, you just got busted, man. Players 1, no drop is 5, and super health potion is 1. Each monster can now drop up to 6 items. You can only drop super health potions, and chance to drop 1 potion is 1/6. So this is just testing. Right here, we just have videos. I assume this is, yeah, we're on players 1. I'm going to make my face smaller. Okay, so that's the player's 1 number of potions. That's what we expected. So now, let's go to the next one. This should be player 7. Perfect. And we'll see how many potions we get on player 7. And we can see we get way more potions on player 7. So many potions. And the third test is, can we do the player count change? So we are starting out on players 1. Head over and spawn Travancore. Change to player 7. Count to 5. That's cute counting. And these are still player 1 monsters, but they dropped player 7 items. That is wild, Pavkey. So there's the proof. We're getting it all. All the drops. You can change player count after spawning enemies to get better drops. And then here's his guide to advanced Travancore farming to perfectly do it. This is what you got from 10,000 runs? 4 weeks of farming and 10,000 runs to get these runes. Holy cow! So 10,000 runs at players 1 means you would generally get 12 Vex plus and 38 Pull plus. And at players 7 you would get 59 Pull plus and 19 Vex plus. Wow. And this is if you're doing Hork runs. That's only 6,857 Hork runs. Oh, but you're saying time spent overall. Yeah. That's crazy. What's the benefit? I mean, obviously you get player 7 drops for P1. Can this be used for online play? Yes, it can, but you have to be clever and fast. If you're in a Magic Find group and you are the game host, create the game, run to your area, spawn everything before players come in, wait until everybody fills it, and then start your run. That's amazing. Oh, you can do this in any area you want. Make the cows and spawn the cows. Go to camp, change to player 7, Prophet, Arcane Sanctuary, Worldstone Keep, Bale Waves. Possibilities are endless. Wow. That is truly amazing. That is truly amazing. I mean, that's I'm not sure they would patch it up, but it definitely feels like something that they probably almost should patch because that's so good. That is absolutely insanely good. Wow. I kind of like it for the cows almost. Just go blazing all around the cows and murdering everything there. You do not get Player 7 experience. So this is why it was something that wasn't thought of in whatever way. You would have the life of the monster, the attack damage of the monster, the experience of the monster, all of that got saved. All of that stuff would get saved. So if I left and then came back 5 minutes later, that monster would still have all of that. But the difference is the player count is not getting saved on it for its no drop chance. That wasn't Ale. That's crazy. Well, GG Pavkey, that is awesome. Nice find and proof. Congrats on all of the runes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 Vex plus. So you even beat the odds a little bit. That's nice, man. Nice job. GG, you guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe, YouTube. Peace, everybody.